This is Santa Clarita, your average upper-middle-class, overprivileged suburban wasteland, most well known as the home of Six Flags Magic Mountain. The amusement park was built in 1971 with an underlying goal of introducing families to the then rural area of Valencia in hopes that they'd decide to move here. Well, I guess the plan worked. Hell, even my own family packed their things from Santa Monica and moved to the promised land. Better schools, safer streets, and the perfect place to raise a family. We've got a mall, the movies, and pretty much anything else you'd ever want to spend money on. It seems every day vacant empty fields are bulldozed into parking structures and new homes and businesses are popping up everywhere you look. There's no doubt the town is sprawling with construction, but what about the teenagers in Santa Clarita? Who would have ever thought that such a quiet, peaceful town could produce such angry children as these? You may be asking yourself just what these privileged white kids have to be so darn angry about.
Go to the mall on Friday night and you think you're really cool. Spending daddy's credit card, you're living life so good.
Maybe the fact that the only thing to do here is go to the mall or the movies, hang around town and spend our parents' money.
You lost a mess and yeah you know, but still you like to spend.
Maybe the fact that local bands have no place to play and there are no venues around here because everyone's too worried about liabilities. Or maybe just because our families aren't nearly as perfect as we look on our Christmas card photos. This is the real suburbia, and these are the kids that live here. This is their story.
Pretty much everywhere I've lived in a nice area. I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, then adopted and moved to San Jose up north. And then I moved down to Yorba Linda over in Orange County. And then I moved here when I was in 4th grade, so.
I don't know, I lived with my dad in Tumor until I was like 6 or something. Then my parents got divorced and my mom moved out over by Newhall in an apartment, but then we moved to Castaic, so.
I've lived at Santa Clarita all my life since I was born. Lived in Castaic for 11 years, then I came to Valencia for 11, 12, 13, 14,
I don't think
5
Castaic's
years.
part of Santa Clarita.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
I actually first lived in Castaic with my mom, and then she moved because of that big earthquake. And then I was also going from Castaic to Canyon Country because my mom and my dad separated like when I was really, really young.
Yeah, my parents are divorced. They divorced like 3-4 years ago.
Parents got divorced when I was 4. My dad left. I have a sister, I've never met her. I've never ever got along with my mom, ever. I hate her. She put me in rehab.
Even though there's, they live out here in Santa Clarita, it not necessarily means that, their life is, copacetic. They could be rich and still, really unhappy. They could have a bad family life. A lot of them, some of them are living in the wash, because their home life is so bad.
I don't know, for me it was like I went to Castaic Middle School and I got the shit kicked out of me every day, and because I dressed weird and I had short hair.
I went to Canyon High School. Yeah, Canyon High.
What did you think
Graduated last year. Graduated like 2 years ago.
I went to Canyon High School.
And I go to Valencia High School.
I went to Valencia High School.
I live in Valencia and I went to Soccer Sauce here.
I went to Opportunities for Learning. And, story of my fucking life, I'm a fuck up.
I was Saugus, and then I transferred to Bowman after I went to rehab in Utah.
Well, I went to Hart High. I graduated from Hart High.
I spent my first 2 years at Hart, fucking loving that spot. Fucking having a good time every day with all those cool people and shit. And then I got the hell out of there because it was horrible.
Because it was too cool and you had bad ideas.
And then I went to AOC, which used to be really chill and was a really good idea.
I've only lived here like 2 years. I moved from the valley, like from Glendale and Burbank.
I work right here. Right here. That's where I work. I serve pizza to the majority of people every day.
Valencia people.
So my parents bought a house here and they actually like the suburban life, I guess. They really like it here, so.
Got here because I lived in West Los Angeles. I was actually working in the film industry, but then later became a teacher. And my friend, another teacher here, said there was an opening for theater. Come up to Santa Clarita. So I interviewed for the job and I got it.
I mean, yeah, some of the teachers are really, really cool. And my counselor is awesome. But other than that, I'd rather choose not to have a relationship with any new person here, just because, I mean, I don't know. This is like, a rich kid's school.
But I didn't really know what I was in for because I didn't really know what kind of community it was until I started teaching here. And I was like, okay, interesting.
What do I think of Valencia High?
Most people, I don't know, they're just fake. They're too involved in certain things. They don't see the big picture. That's the impression I get.
People are a lot more materialistic here. They're horribly dependent on Hollywood and showing off for people and caring about what other people think of them.
You get all those girls with on their 16th birthday who get, their damn brand new car and stuff, and then they get pissed if it's used or whatever. I don't know, that's just what I've seen.
You turn 16, you get a car, and you don't work, and everything's very structured.
There was no mall, there was no Montasia, there was nothing here. And we tell people where you were from, it was where's that? It was oh, you know where Magic Mountain is? Oh yeah, okay. It's still probably like that.
It is a beautiful community and it has a lot to offer for children, but I think once children start growing up and they start getting in their teens, they are just pining and fighting to get out of this valley because they want to see more of the world, because it's a pretty sheltered place. It's very conservative.
There's this whole family thing going on with Santa Clarita and this whole development thing, but there's this whole gap of people they kind of leave out, and that's this right at the age when people get into punk and car bar, and that's they just kind of leave out the high school age and young, post high school, college age and stuff, and that's why this town really sucks.
When I used to live in North Hollywood or whatever, I used to live near the metro station, and even in LA, you can get from point A to point B with just $1.25, and here you can't do anything. There's no shows because all the people are so uptight.
They have nothing else to do.
This town is it was built for old people and and people that just like to relax and stuff. But when you're a kid, you want to have fun, but I mean, there's nowhere we can have fun. And the places we do try to have fun, the police come and shut it down. So I think that punk rock's kind of an outlet for kids to just express themselves and just kind of enjoy life with each other.
You just can't stand the way that everything is exactly the same, exactly the same color of paint, exactly the same design on the house. And so I guess that kind of inspires rebellion, and I guess like punk is the easiest way to go. It's like the most obvious form of rebellion.
Have something to be a part of. Have something to go to. Yeah, family.
Back then, little did I know it, but I was a Hesher. In fact, somebody in the class asked me, "Are you a Hesher?" And I'm like, I don't know, do I look like one? Because I had no idea what a Hesher was. I was long hair, you know, Metallica, Zeppelin and all that. And then I got introduced into punk, and that changed my life forever.
Well, I got into punk because there was a thought that I always had in my head, but I didn't know anyone else agreed with me. Until I finally heard other punk bands and go, well, yeah, there's other people that actually believe the same things I do, think the same way. So me going all along listening to those bands, I kind of grow by listening to that band. I hope everyone can grow up listening to our band.
What made me want to get into punk is my friend Brian Moser. I moved out here and he just showed me what was going on. He's one of the bassists, I think, from Social Convicts. And he really opened my eyes to punk rock in 6th grade.
Like back in '85 when I first got into punk, there was no mall. I mean, it was literally, you know, suburbia. You know, there was nothing going on out here. And like a group of us would be just walking down the street, and sheriffs would drive by and just pull up on us and stop us and ask us our names and what we were doing, where we were going, and it was total harassment. I mean, because back then it wasn't as popular to be a punk as it is now.
Well, when I was a little kid, like I always heard it and I always liked it, and I got myself into it. I don't know, like I just got myself into it. That's really it. I just saw like kids with mohawks and stuff, and I was like, well, I want that for myself, and so I chased after it.
Like the way my family was, I guess, like the way I grew up, it's just like, I don't know, I just went towards the music and pretty much just the friends and the lifestyle that I lived.
Basically, if I were to dress up in a nice business suit and everything like that, it goes to show I'm ready to pick up where my father left off, but the fact that I don't dress like that, so the fact that I don't believe in that, and I'm ready to make a life for myself where there is no greed or apathy and no killing and no hate. Well, I'll just live with love and peace.
In a lot of ways, I don't think there's a better choice for kids than to, become a punk or whatever, because, if your parents don't listen to you, don't, hear what you have to say, then it's like you try to find people who will listen to what you have to say.
Are there many local shows around here?
No.
Why?
Because no one's united. It's all just like 1-2 punks, Saugus punks. It's not like Santa Clarita punks. It's just like the town kind of.
Do you guys have local shows here?
Never.
Shows here?
Yeah.
I have to drive shows here, not too often. I think this is the first show they've ever had.
I've been going to Valencia for a year and a half, and I've only gone to one show of local bands. And it was at a church.
We even have like loud music. All the people do is like yell at you. And like...
The last show in Santa Clarita I can remember was on Halloween at Sneed's house.
They trashed the place.
There's a lot of drugs there.
Yeah. Everybody got high. And I had to clean up for like 3 days, and it sucked balls, and that's why I'll never have another one again.
The best thing they thought we could do was address the issue of the kind of marginalization of teenagers in the Santa Clarita Valley, and that to their mind that was a social justice issue, and it was a way to deal with what they considered to be a violent situation, that young people weren't being recognized as contributing members of the community who had their own way of expressing themselves.
Any shows around here? No. The only show you can find back here is a backyard show, because otherwise the cops won't let you play anywhere, the vineyards won't let you play anywhere. So if you can get a backyard show going, it'll probably last about 2 hours.
From the Roxy.
About 2 hours?
About 2 hours before the cops come and close it down.
Did the cops come?
Yes, actually twice.
Why?
Because it was too loud, because the first band was some gay-ass death metal band, and they just blasted all their music. Bunch of bitches.
I think we were making too much noise or something. Our neighbor called. They got all these drunk kids running around the neighborhood.
Basically how it is, and it sucks.
Yeah, like if you try to organize like Trailer Trash Bash, they tried to organize a show with all the local bands, and that went to hell. Like you had to pay $100 thing just to get in, like just to rent the place, which is fine. But then you had to get like parent signatures like crazy, like 10 of them or something. No one wanted to sign for it because if anything happened, which it would, because everyone just fucks it up.
Yeah.
just fell into it when they were dancing.
What's up? Well, of course.
It was great. All the cool bands came out. We had a good time. Sucks his water heater's broken though. Sometimes it happens. But it was a good show. Good show.
You know, wouldn't it be nice if in every neighborhood around the Santa Clarita Valley, whether it was the churches or the schools, had a nonviolence committee locally where they lived, and they didn't even have to get in a car, they could just walk to a Friday night show where the local bands played. I mean, just picture the Santa Clarita Valley with every single church or school having some sort of a music event for kids every Friday night. I mean, it's unfathomable.
Me and Brian have been in a band for like 4 years, but we've had different people, and then we got Scott and Liam in it, and it's only been for like a year.
I think the scene's just like just kind of a mess, and everyone's just sort of confused. But it's just a struggle, I guess. They're just, I mean, because a lot of the older guys, they don't really help the scene. They just kind of put it down and make fun of people. And then there's the kids that I don't know, and so it just leaves them lost when they should just be like, well, here, this is what you should be doing, you know? Like, I don't know. It needs a lot of help.
None of them know what the message is and could give two shits less about it, and they don't care. They just like how they look and they like the music, and it's not the music, you know.
But I would say to add to that is, even though that may be, there's always gonna be some that's always posing or something that truly believe. We all start somewhere. I know probably when I started becoming getting into punk, people thought, oh, that guy's just a fucking poser. But unless all the other older punks help out the smaller generation get into and grow, then there won't be anybody left.
Vegetarian buffalo wings. They really look like chicken nuggets. They're expensive.
Santa Clarita, it just doesn't seem like there should be a scene here. I mean, there should be a scene, but I don't know.
It doesn't seem like there's gonna be one.
Yeah, I think because everyone's like intimidated by each other. Nobody really like, I don't know. It seems like everyone's afraid to get out of their own comfort zone, so they just hide behind their clothes.
When my fiance died, at first she was diagnosed with cancer, and then they operated on her, put her on a chemotherapy. She ended up dying in my arms. So that was a pretty rough time for me, and you know, punk really helped me, you know, get through that. So, but yeah,
That's what punk music is, dude. Punk was never about the fucking music. It was always about the message, and music was just an easier way to get it out to the kids. Anyone else that wanted to listen, you know, sharing our beliefs. So, you know, punk rock music is just, you know, the first step. You know, the message is what really counts, and it's not all this dressing up like punks and all that other bullshit, you know? Because that's just fashion, dude. That'll all fade away. That's nothing. It's all about the message. That's all it ever will be. that's what punk music's for. You listen to a band to agree with the message and to fight for that message. It's bullshit. All these kids, they dress like it, listen to all these bands or whatever, and they call themselves punks. You've got to know what the fucking message is
That's
about.
what Crash did. That's why Crash deliberately made their music sound like shit, so people would not stop listening. People would stop listening to the music, listen to the message. So it wouldn't just be people going, oh, I love the music, I love punk. Like, no, I love the message.
Yeah, definitely, like, living around here is gonna cause kids to be more, I don't know, subversive, I guess. Like, if they're putting up with, like, I don't know, just such a boring, crappy situation, like, they're gonna go the opposite way.
When you're surrounded by that much mainstream culture, and, like, you obviously have such a disdain for it and you want nothing to do with it, it just, like, pushes you to a point where you start making music with a harmonica and a bass.
But no, some people, a lot of people go like, "Oh, you guys are funny," and that was cool. But that's about the limit of it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess nobody's offering us shows or anything. Nobody's asking us to play with them, except bands who haven't played yet and want to play with us, because we have the ability to get the same 15 friends to every show. We just spread them out enough.
The song is about Santa Clarita. You were born in Bethel Gypsy, to your hometown magazine, but the content is outrageous and just the way it be. Oh, what the people!
It's about people, like, growing up, being surrounded by certain ideas, and, like, then the metaphor is a subscription to a magazine, so they grow up thinking that capitalism is the way, and this and that, and, you know, maybe if they just kind of thought for themselves, they might realize that there's other ways to do things.
Power! Someone check all the cords and check and see if the generator went out.
Everything is on.
The fuck is
Like, do they cut out power?
Maybe they shut the power.
The generator's still going.
Oh, the generator. Check. It's working.
They're being convinced in this culture to become consumers. You know, that's the only thing that it's like, if you want to go out and enjoy yourself, you've got to spend a lot of money. There's just nowhere to go without spending a huge amount of money. And this is an affluent community, so for the most part their kids have money, but the point is not to think of yourself as somebody who's important only because you've got money to spend.
Look at those friends who like you for you! Check the way! Living in it every day! Church to know that right! Everything turns out fine! No second chance, game of life! No second chance, game of life! No
How long have you guys lived in Santa Clarita?
13 years. Fucking 13 years of shit. It's boring. School's alright, but other than that, it sucks. There needs to be more venues out here. But I figure, why whine about it? Just try to, like, we've been trying to get shows and, like, do a lot of stuff, and never happens. So that's what we'd rather try to make it better than just complain about it. down, yeah. But like I remember, I don't know when it was or anything, but there was like a show at Saga Speedway a long time ago or something, and some kids trying to like burn down the bleachers. So I think everyone's just gonna freak out about like having a show and like no one wants anyone to get hurt.
I eventually hope to start my own magazine, become a journalist, be an author, stuff like that.
Hopefully I can find a better job. But hopefully my music will at least make enough money I can live off that.
So probably when I graduate, I'll get involved with tattooing, get involved with an apprentice, but also a job on the side.
Right now I'm trying to get $100 to go to a sober living place in Garden Grove. And hopefully thereon I'll just make the money I need to make so I can move out on my own and eventually go to school and become a preschool teacher.
And now I work for a communications company managing adult content. I watch porno all day.
As long as I get out of Santa Clarita Valley, I think it'll be okay.
I don't want to run away and like cause fucking havoc. Like I'm in enough trouble than I am right now. I used to do that.
This is getting into.
I used to go around running away, like, that only got me into trouble. I'm just gonna wait till I turn 18 and do shit the right way. I'm tired of fucking up.
In some ways I see, like, all the track housing and all the, like, just stores and chains and stuff. Like, I don't know, I could see that. I don't know, hopefully people are thinking about it and realizing what's going on, but I think it's going to get to a point where there's going to be a breaking point. People are going to realize that it's kind of a sham, and they've kind of been robbed of their community. And that's going to happen when Newhall Hardware goes out of business and they tear down San Fernando Road.
The gentrification of Newhall.
I've been driving the bus now 6 years, and it's not as fun as it was when I first started. There's like way too many people here now. It's just like people, just floods of people keep moving in every day. And they just keep building and building and building. In fact, I was driving by a construction site one time, and it had a sign indicating that the construction was done. It said, you know, end construction. I really wanted to take that sign and like put it in City Hall, you know, as a statement, you know, end construction. But I never did that.
There's a lot of more stuff in Valencia being built. They're making a lot of more condominiums, like houses. That just means that they're gonna bring in more people, and Santa Clarita is gonna be overpopulated. And
when I lived in Casey, I remember I lived there and it was nothing but like, I lived around dirt, and now I go there and there's like Albertsons and all these shopping centers. There's like 1,000 more houses down in like Copper Hill. Like it keeps on growing.
Lived in the house I live in now for probably like 12 years or something like that, and I remember when I first got into there, because our house was one of the original homes. It's in Circle J. It's not part of the new shit that they've been putting up. And I remember when you could go outside my driveway and you could just look at all these hills, and I first went dirt bike riding it, down those hills and stuff, which is, I don't do that anymore, but it was kind of fun. And I'd go down there with some friends and just goof around, because it was a cool little place. It wasn't a wash, it was just like some hills that you could, screw around in. And now it's all houses. It's all houses. And I mean, I think they are overpopulating this city. It's gonna get too bad. I mean, we're gonna be the next valley. People are gonna come here for their goods.
While the population expands, the youth of suburbia remains restless and still void of a venue. It's easy to come to the conclusion that there isn't a whole lot going on here for young people, but in a valley plagued by apathy, it's up to us to create change in our community and defy the odds of becoming yet another washed-up yuppie cliché. Many teenagers complain about the restrictions of living in suburbia, but only when you have freed your mind and can transcend the mental borders and ideals of this sheltered area have you truly escaped. Sure, almost getting mowed over on a daily basis by Starbucks gulping soccer moms and SUVs can take its toll on a kid, but I have learned that if it's possible for resistance against the mainstream culture to exist here, then it's possible just about anywhere.
Superstar, 1, 2, 3, 4!